She walked into the motel room and was never seen again. Before you sink into this story, subscribe, like, and turn on notifications, because after this one, you'll question every stranger's smile, every door you ever closed behind you. The rain that night came down like it wanted to wash the city clean. Portland's streets glowed under fractured neon, the kind of cold blue light that made everything feel a little haunted. At the edge of town stood the Royal Viking Motel, cheap, quiet, the kind of place people went when they didn't want to be found. Yolanda Panek pulled into the cracked parking lot a few minutes before midnight. Her toddler slept in the back seat, small face pressed against the car window, oblivious to the storm. She took a deep breath, exhaled, and stepped out into the rain. A woman rebuilding her life after leaving a volatile marriage. She was supposed to meet someone here, a friend from the shelter who promised to bring court papers. She carried her son, checked in under her own name, and smiled faintly at the night clerk. The clerk remembered that smile later. He said, "She looked tired, but she looked safe." An hour later, the motel fell silent. The only sounds were the hiss of the rain and the faint hum of a car engine idling nearby, a gray sedan with its lights off. The next morning, housekeeping knocked on room 19. No answer. When the maid unlocked the door, her scream echoed down the hall. The room looked like a storm had passed through it. The mattress flipped, the curtains torn, a broken lamp on the floor. The air reeked of bleach and metal. Detective Laura Jensen arrived minutes later. She paused at the doorway, scanning every inch of the chaos. The sight was worse up close. Smears of blood under the phone, a child's blanket half soaked, a trail leading toward the bathroom and stopping abruptly. No body, no sign of struggle. By dawn, the case had shifted from a missing person search to a homicide investigation. And just as they began building their timeline, a clerk from a nearby gas station called in a tip, a receipt, time-stamped 1:43 a.m., signed by Yolanda Panek herself, her signature, her name, nearly an hour after she was supposed to already be dead. And that single slip of paper, one piece of ink in disbelief, would unravel everything they thought they knew about what happened inside room 19. The gas station receipt lay under the harsh light of the precinct's evidence table, the ink glimmering faintly, as if the truth were hiding in plain sight. 1:43 a.m. An hour after the motel cameras went dark, the signature was undeniably hers. Detective Laura Jensen stared at it, unease crawling up her spine. Either the clock was wrong, her partner muttered, or she wasn't dead yet. Laura didn't reply. The air in the squad room felt heavier than the rain outside. By dawn, she was at the gas station, the smell of diesel and coffee hanging in the fog. The clerk, a thin young man with shaky hands, remembered the woman. Yeah, she came in for gum and a coffee, looked upset. There was a guy outside, gray car, maybe silver. He never looked up from the wheel. Laura leaned closer. Did she say anything? He hesitated. She asked what road led to the river. The words cut through her like cold glass. That river ran near the industrial docks, a place with 1,000 places to hide something or someone. Back at the precinct, forensics called. They'd found fragments of plastic and a torn pillowcase in the motel dumpster, soaked in the same blood type as Yolanda's. A single partial print matched Mark Panek, the husband. He had claimed he'd been home asleep, but witnesses placed his car outside the Royal Viking after midnight. Laura and her partner brought him in for questioning. Ma. Outside, thunder rolled over the city as if echoing her words. The chase for Mark Panek had just begun, and so had the unraveling of everything they thought they knew about what happened to Yolanda Panek inside room 19. The letter arrived 3 weeks later. No return address, no fingerprints, no words except one. She's here. It came with a single photograph of a forest clearing outside Mount Hood, time-stamped 2:11 a.m. Detective Laura Jensen studied it under the dim light of her desk. Pine silhouettes bent in the wind, and at the edge of the frame something white protruded from the earth. By dawn, Laura and her partner were there. Mist hung low over the trees, the air damp and metallic. "Right spot," Shaw said, scanning the coordinates. "No question." They moved carefully along the path until Laura's flashlight caught torn plastic half buried under wet leaves. It matched the same type from the motel dumpster. Next to it lay a child's toy, sun-faded, broken, and unmistakably the brand Yolanda's son owned. Forensics sealed off the area, and Laura crouched beside the disturbed soil. She didn't speak. Every instinct screamed that Yolanda had been here. Blood traces in the dirt confirmed it. Yet again, no body. Still, the discovery forced the DA's hand. With circumstantial evidence piling up, Mark Panek was indicted in absentia for murder. A manhunt swept through 3 states. Then, on a rainy evening in Spokane, a deputy pulled over a rented box truck for a broken taillight. The driver matched Mark's description. Same sharp jawline, same eyes that never blinked long enough. When asked for his license, he hesitated half a beat too long. Inside the truck they found cleaning solvents, a crowbar, rope, and, folded neatly in a sealed bin, a woman's yellow raincoat embroidered "Y Panek." At interrogation, Mark sat silent, fingers tapping a rhythm on the metal table. Laura S. it down the photograph from Mount Hood. "We found this where you left her," she said. He finally looked up. "You didn't find her," he murmured. "You never will." That sentence chilled the room. The truck's GPS told another story. Several midnight trips to an abandoned property owned by Mark's cousin, a long-forgotten storage facility near the Columbia River. The next morning, tactical units pried open its rusted doors. Dust fell like ash. In the center stood an old freezer sealed with layers of industrial tape. When the lid cracked open, the cold stung their faces. Inside wasn't a body, but a purse, a driver's license, a motel key labeled Room 19, and a stack of Polaroids showing the Royal Viking Motel sign glowing in the rain. In the corner of one image, a blurred figure stood behind Yolanda, wearing the motel manager's jacket. Hours later, confronted with the evidence, the manager broke down. "He paid me to erase the footage," he confessed. "Said it was just a fight. I didn't know." It was enough. Mark Panek was arrested, extradited, and charged with murder. He never confessed, never said where he'd hidden her. Years passed. The motel fell into decay, then demolition. When crews tore up the laundry room floor, they hit a patch of concrete poured too recently for the building's age. Beneath it, wrapped in layers of plastic, they found fragments of fabric, bone, and a necklace etched with a child's initials. DNA confirmed what everyone already knew. Yolanda Panek had been there the whole time. At sentencing, Mark stared at the floor. He spoke once. She should have stayed quiet. The courtroom went silent. He received life in prison without parole, but some mysteries don't end with a verdict. Locals say that even after the Royal Viking was gone, the neon sign from its wreckage kept flickering to life in storage. Briefly, unpredictably, spelling out only one word: Befi, or dying again. Yolanda, if you think this story is over, the narrator's voice fades into static. You haven't heard the next one. Subscribe, because what comes after this will keep you awake tonight.